everyone, and welcome back to Unfiltered Faith, where we have real conversations rooted in faith. Guys, I'm so excited.
Hello.
Hi.
All right, so before I get excited and introduce you, why don't you introduce yourselves?
Okay, my name is Faven Fossil. I am a student at SMU, and I'm a member at OTYD, and I also serve at my church in Irving, Debrecen, Maya.
Hello, guys. My name is Beatty. I serve at Debra St. George. I'm also a student at SMU. We studied the same thing.
Yeah.
We're like this, but very excited to be here. Yeah.
Okay, how did I not know you go to SMU, bitch?
You didn't?
I didn't know. No, I
do,
knew
guys.
David went to SMU, but
Yeah.
I felt like you're like UNT or UT.
Something like
Local.
closer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
SMU is
SMU
actually
no,
pretty
it's close
SMU is like
too.
right here.
Yeah, no, it's 10 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
From your
SMU?
house? Really?
Yeah. I live off 75.
Come by.
Well, I was gonna. Well, I had the option between UTD and SMU. I just chose SMU because I was like, I want the college experience.
Cool.
I chose SMU, but I don't really tell that many people unless they ask me.
But now,
But like now, all you guys know. So
go,
there you go.
go Mustang. Okay. All right. Well, today our episode is called my God, Why Have You Forsaken Me? And it is based on the verse that Jesus Christ said in the 9th hour when he was on the cross. And also we find it in Psalms 22:1. So reading that verse, basically knowing the whole thing that happened on the cross, when you hear that, when you read that, especially where my mind goes is Himamat, Passion Week, right? We go through every hour. They do all the readings, and we always hear like I'm lucky. Yemilo verse, and honestly, that's where like tears fall into my eyes because I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a sinner.
Yeah.
Where does your minds go whenever you guys hear that verse?
Yeah.
You start.
Okay, I can go ahead. So for me, at least, whenever Jesus Christ is saying, why my God, have you forsaken me? At first glance, I feel like all of us are like, Jesus, why are you questioning God? You should know that
He's your father. He loves you.
He will give you the best plan.
Yes,
he has it all set in stone.
Yeah.
But I think as the verses go on, and even in the Psalms, he ends up having trust. And like, I know that at the end of the day, I know that you know what's best for me, as the Israelites were delivered. And there were so many different examples in the verse. Like, at the end of the day, even Jesus Christ himself on this earth felt that pain that we feel here on earth when we feel like, where's God? Like, I don't feel him right now.
Yeah, I think that to go off that, I think that's the most beautiful thing about Christ coming down and taking humanity and saving us, because that's like, I think the central moment where you're like, wow, that's the pain that we feel. And Jesus, like God himself, if you really think about it, like meditate on it, God himself came down here and took that pain, which we chose ourselves, or I guess Adam chose, that he voluntarily took that and lowered himself. And then feeling that pain, he went through it willingly. His soul went down to Hades, and then he saved us. And so it's like, it's beautiful. It's sad, obviously, in the moment, but if you really think about it, that's where our salvation comes from. But I think it's a beautiful verse, and yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah. I think Faven, it's something that you said that a lot of the times, I think we forget, especially when we're so into our, like, whether it's a bad season, we're in a specific trial, we're just so into our hurt. And it's like, we as humans, I feel like sometimes we can't look past our hurt. And it's just like, we're just so stuck in our hurt. Sometimes we could just be like, God, why me? Like, why did you do this to me?
Yeah.
Not knowing that he has something on the brighter end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Have you guys ever felt like that? Like, have you ever been stuck in your hurt to where, unfiltered faith, okay? Real conversation, okay?
And I don't know how personal we're going to get here, but...
honestly, I'm trying to see a tear or two,
No.
But no, seriously, like, have you ever been in that to where, like, you just could not look past the moment? Like, you could not look past your hurt to where you're just stuck saying, like, God, why? Like, I don't see it. I can't see it. There's nothing. I can't get past this.
No, yeah. Do you
Yeah.
want me to go or you want to go?
You go ahead. Let me
No, I
collect my
can go.
thoughts.
I feel like for me that earlier whenever I was reading the prompt, nothing was really speaking to me. But now I realize like this is just completely encompassing my testimony, why I came back. Not came back. I've always been Orthodox Christian. Good. Like whenever I started college, I really was like so lost. And like the craziest part was like I saw nothing wrong, you know? And so I was knee deep in the college life, enjoying it, having fun. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect now, but I'm saying it was 10 times worse when I was a freshman, when I was a sophomore. And then I don't know how TMI this is. Oh my goodness.
However,
Okay, so one friendship I was in ended. Friendship, Guatinga, ended. And I was like, but my life is over. Like, oh my gosh, like, God, like, what's going on? And I mean, I knew I ended it. I knew that that was the best thing for myself. And then after that, literally my life was in shambles, like emotionally, mentally, everything. Mommy, I'm sorry. Please don't get mad at me for oversharing. Like I was just so out. Like it was just horrible for me in that season. And I started going to church, but I didn't necessarily like feel it because I felt like there was like tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. I didn't realize that all of that was building me up into the person that I am. Like it was just crazy season after I've lots of different friendship breakups. School was horrible. Pushed my MCAT back. I'm also pre-med, as I said. Like my timeline wasn't going as I wanted it to go. Like I was just like, you know, what is going on? And I didn't realize that I wasn't close enough to God to begin with. All this needed to happen in order for me to fully develop that relationship with God and then overcome the trials of the world, because college isn't the real world. We like to think that. And like,
it's not.
I know that when I step into the real world, being an adult is 10 times harder, and I needed to develop that trust with God before you know, stepping out into the real world. So that's a bit of my testimony.
Now, bills will make you cry. You think tragedy bills will make you cry, I feel like. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So mine is kind of about college too. I just graduated. So
high school.
Yeah, graduated high school. Still in college.
I was gonna say, did I miss a graduation party?
No, yeah. I just graduated high school a few months ago, and I've always had like good grades, I guess. So when I finished senior year, I had like this vision of going to really, really good school. Not to say that SMU is not a good school, but I had a vision of going into a really good school, just accomplishing something that would really make other people proud and my parents proud. And then that kind of, when I didn't get into the schools I wanted to get into, or just didn't get the results I wanted to, even though I remember me and my brother would, shout out to my twin, if you're watching, me and my brother would stay like hours at Starbucks writing essays, and we would get it reviewed by other people and all that. And I was like, okay, my grades are good. All of these are good. Like I have everything in check. I'm going to accomplish what I want. Like this is it. And then I got my results back, and I got rejected from most of the universities I applied to. And it didn't like, I think I thought it wouldn't hurt my ego, because I really didn't. I thought I didn't care as much, but as time went on, I was like, dang, like I only got accepted to a couple schools that are local. Like I didn't get accepted to the dream schools I wanted to get into. So I thought about that, and I started to pray, and I was like, God, I want to be happy and content with where you put me. But even as I prayed that, I knew I wasn't content. So I had to pray day after day after day. And it didn't hit me till I got to SMU. And I realized, wow, I'm so grateful to be like with these people, like being able to serve at OTYD. Like where would I be because my dream was to go to like California. I wanted to leave. I did not want to be in Dallas. That didn't happen. Huh?
No, California ain't that great. First of all, no offense to Cali people.
I don't know what my obsession was, either California or New York. That was like my thing. But I ended up staying here. And as I went home like every weekend, I was able to serve at OTYD. I was able to serve my church. I was like, God, you kept me here for a reason. And I realized something about myself where like I rely on my own understanding a lot, and I didn't realize that until I got to SMU, and I was like, I could have just trusted you, God, and not been anxious this whole time. So I could have saved myself all that anxiety, but anyways, it's a learning curve. So I'm happy now. I love SMU. I love where I am. So
That's so good. Honestly, the hardest lesson is whenever I say the hardest lesson is when like God has to teach it to you
yeah,
versus us like opening up the Bible and really taking in the word. Because I feel like every lesson that needs to be learned, in my eyes anyway, is in the Bible. I mean, like we can look at Job and
yeah,
my dude went through it.
everything,
Like we
everything.
think, you know what I mean? And it's not to downplay anybody's like emotional hurt or anything
Yeah.
like that, but you know, to get literally every single thing that you know on this earth
Yeah.
while you have been living, taken everything from you and still praise God,
Yeah,
I think is like it is just amazing.
yeah,
I think it was during our conference, the sermon was like praise God and everything. And so Dakon Malkish, he was just saying like praise in hurt, praise in anger, praise in sadness. And so
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's also another thing I learned, where I think I used to thank God for earthly things that he's given me, and earthly like blessings, which is good, which is you should do. But as my prayer life got stronger, especially since I got to college, I realized that a lot of the things I start to thank him for now is simply being able to, I guess, be with him, be able to talk to him, be able to give him my heart more and more. And I start to, like, subconsciously, I start to be more thankful for just God being God instead of the things I receive in like my daily life, which has never been the way my prayer life. Also, my prayer life has grown a lot since the past couple months, which I'm very grateful for. But like subconsciously, I would literally thank God for like just, I love photography. I'm going off on a tangent now, but I love photography. And so when I see like nature, and when I see like things that are just like bring me so much peace and joy, I'm like, God, like your work is so beautiful. Like, just focusing our minds, I think, on heavenly things sometimes help us see past our like whatever hurt we may be going through. And that's a beautiful thing. So,
honestly, okay, I'm gonna hop on your tangent just for like a quick second.
Go ahead.
So within our church, Zamana Kramt is like basically the season of rain. Is like my favorite time.
What
my
month is
God. It is like right before the Orthodox New Year. So like right before
so,
like September 11th.
Summer,
so right before, I think, if I'm not mistaken, anybody correct me. But yes, so it's right before then. And it is basically that I think like when the reason why I say this is because whenever you said like just glorifying God for like the smallest things, I think our church does a wonderful job. Like, I don't know if we know how much the church prays for every single thing. Like, we literally have
pray for rain.
We pray for rain. We pray for flowers. You guys, we pray for farmers that we don't even know, like so they can have like grass, so the animals can eat. Like, but God, when we pray, like Zamana Karamt, even the presidents
too.
We do. But like, we do. Even in Sa'atats, like where they bring up the like the past patriarchs, and then they bring up like the past kings of Ethiopia and like, you know, current leaders. Like,
wow,
it's like we literally pray for everything. And like our church is so like, it's so deep and it's so beautiful. The fact that like we pray for rain. And the reason why I say this is because when I was a little girl, I used to hate the rain. I used to cry every time it thunders because I thought every time it like had thunder, rain, I thought like God was gonna come. This was the time. This was especially like, you know, in Dallas we have tornado season. And so, but God, that's it. And I was crying. And like when I was younger, there was Guay at Devra Merat on Fridays and Saturdays. So like if it was raining during those times, like I would like cry to my mom so we could stay either until the rain passed or just all night there. And like she probably thought I was a crazy kid. But just to say like just glorifying God for every single thing. And just how beautiful our church like does a beautiful job into doing that. But
I think that's what's so beautiful about our church too, because like
I feel like we are constantly like in a state of being appreciative. And whenever we feel like God isn't there, to kind of shift your mindset. I think when you really go into whenever you're doing, oh my gosh, whenever you're doing Adase, oh my gosh, you're doing Adase and you're grounded. You're like, you actually think about everything. You're like, you're breathing, it slows down. You're grateful. You pray, even when you don't understand what's going on. Like, you could really hone in on what's going on in your mind. Like, okay, I need to be grateful for this church, my family, my home. And then whenever you do understand what's going on, I'm grateful for for understanding. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I think that kind of goes into how the prompt. I don't know.
No, it does. I think our fathers, especially Saratek and Dase, like, right, we're using all of our 5 senses, right? We're smelling the Itan, we're listening to the Kandase, we're watching the Kandase, right? And then we're also like, you know, the movement, like we bend down as well. And so it's just like we're using our whole body
to worship.
To worship. And then in the end we're getting this gift, and that's the blood and flesh of Christ. But going back to like, I guess that feeling that you had, that feeling of like, you know, my God, why have you forsaken me? Have you ever, so you guys have gotten through it, and not to say there's not more trials coming,
Still
or maybe you're not maybe you're still going through it, but like, have you helped a friend? Have you ever helped a friend go like, or just even being there, you know, I think is a testimony versus, you know, sometimes we don't have to tell people about Christ and God and what he can do, but sometimes we can show them just by actions. So have you guys ever helped a friend?
I could kind of go on.
Okay, go ahead.
So at our church, I go to Debrecen Mariam. Shout out. Love y'all. So there's not a lot of like people in my age group, I would say. I would say like there's one person who's like, there's Beanie. There's the like rest of the kids. And it's like literally 18 down, you know? And it's like just me, the 21-year-old, you know? And before I started going consistently, it was literally like him and then all the kids. And so it's like not necessarily a friend, but I think I'm kind of like a face of like the young adults in a sense, to like let like my friends that stopped coming to church as often, okay, like please, like you can live the life and God will still want you back in the church. And like, especially because I feel like I'm so far from perfect that I want my friends to like see that if I can still come back, you're so capable of coming back, you know? Like we've all of my friends that are in my age group, like 22, 23 to like 17-ish, like we've gone through the crazy. I still found my way back. God still wants me back in the church. Our community does want us. Like, yes, they'll hit you with a day numbers. Like, like, where have you been? It's been 7 years, you know? But they still want you here at the end of the day, you know? And so while I'm not necessarily a friend, I feel like I'm a non-judgmental face. So even when they're coming like once every 2 months, I'm still literally jumping. Like, I'm like, come back again. Like, literally, I miss you. Like, it's just me and me and the teens, like, you know? But again, I love it, obviously. Again, like, I want the young adults to come back. This is a home at the end of the day. I don't know. I move my hands a lot when I talk. But
I love it.
No,
I was trying to think of a couple instances. I guess one of the most direct ways I've kind of contributed to that is I have a friend. She's non-Orthodox, but she went to my school. She's not Ethiopian either. But she knew I was Christian, and we got really close pretty quickly, like my senior year. And she expressed like a really great interest in getting back into the church. Her parents are not really super religious, but she had so much zeal for wanting to learn more about the faith. And I was like, dang, should I bring her to Orthodox church or not? Because it's just, as you guys know, like it's a lot of different like moving parts. And if you don't understand it, you might get overwhelmed. So I was like, wait, like OTYD is the perfect thing. And she obviously only speaks English. So I was like, let me just bring her to OTYD. And I brought her to OTYD. She loved it. Everyone thought she was Ethiopian because she's black, but like everyone thought she was Abasha because of the netara and everything. But she loved it. And she's like, you have to keep bringing me. So I think I brought her I think like 2 or 3 times, and then she wanted to get baptized, and I was like, girl, already, that's amazing.
Oh wow.
And I know she had like struggles going on in her life too. She always told me about the things that were going on in her life, and I was like, this is, I think, the perfect way where she can find peace. So after bringing her to OTYD, I told her about like a Coptic priest to get her baptized, because I obviously can't do much, but I connected her with him. We're still like working on it, I guess. I think she still needs to talk to him, but even like introducing her to him, she was so thankful. And yeah, I don't know, I think that was
That's
just
so beautiful.
yeah.
Honestly,
So she might be Orthodox soon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
she goes through
amazing.
the
Bitsy, that's
course.
so
Yeah.
wonderful.
So good.
Yeah.
Like you just saved a soul.
Yeah, I hope so.
Like, I mean, obviously with the help of God,
Yeah.
God is the one who changes people's heart. But
Yeah.
like you were that guide. Oh wow.
Yeah, so hopefully she finds
Did you
here.
find yourself like having conversations with her?
Yeah.
Like what were those conversations like? What was it that you made her I guess feel
Religious
supported, asking for a friend,
conversations. I remember sitting in the car with my cousin and her. We talked, I think like it was like 4 of us. We were sitting in my car. We were eating after Chipotle. We had some Chipotle. We sat in the car and we talked for hours about, it's like about God's divinity and his humanity. And I think we read something about it.
Yeah.
And we were like talking about it. We called a friend that knew more about it, Nahum, and he explained
Shout
a little
out to
bit to us. And it was such a fruitful conversation, because I never understood God's divinity in a way that I understood it that day. I'm not gonna go too much depth to it because I don't know much, but it was really eye-opening to me that day. And she was in the conversation, and the other people I was with, they're Orthodox, but they're not I guess they're not as close as I guess as I am, or like they're not as close as I know them, or as they should be, I guess. So we had a conversation for like hours. That happened, I think, like twice, where we just sat in the car and talked about religious things.
Mhm.
That's when I introduced her to my confession father.
Mhm.
So yeah, just like religious conversations. She's always interested in it, and I love talking about it. So then we just have
So
conversations.
cool.
That's so good.
Honestly, I'm so envious of like this next generation, especially OTYD. Like I see like the youth bring like non-Ethiopians
Mhm.
to church. And
Yeah,
I'm
it's
like,
beautiful.
man, with how I would never like, and
Yeah.
it's really just out of fear of like being judged.
And
But
even Dazana, but I was like, dang,
yeah.
should I? But OTYD is honestly like the best outlet for that.
I still can't even like bring
Really?
people to, like that are like non-Ethiopian, you know what I mean, to OTYD. Like it's just like, okay, what if, I don't know, like I don't know what this fear is. I don't know where it comes from, but like I love the fact that the newer generation is so much just open-minded,
Yeah.
and they really take into the churches for everyone. Like it doesn't, like the language doesn't stop them. Like our traditions, the culture that the church has doesn't stop them, and I love that.
I think that was like a question I had growing up too, because when I was a kid, like I would see all these Protestant churches, and they're like, it's true in the Bible, we want people to be followers of Christ. And I feel like the Protestant churches were doing so great at that. I'm like, why are we not doing that? So I think that like it's kind of ingrained, at least in me, to like have this yearning to bring people into into Christianity. And that's why I give people a lot of grace. I'm like, our church, our religion is confusing to some. Again, I'm like, please just taste. Just have a taste. You know? It's a valid mindset. Good. I think like the youth are just so curious. You know, like we want to, why can't we? Like, why can't we bring these people in? What's stopping us? They need to come. Don't they want to go don't we want to bring them into heaven? We have to, you know? And so I think that's just kind of my approach to it. So
go ahead.
I will say, in her case, in my friend's case, honestly, it was just the grace of God working. Like I never, like she knew I was Christian or anything like and everything like that, but she had like the motivation, the zeal all came from her. Like I guess I was just like the outlet to where she could have that access. And I was just there, honestly.
Right person, right time.
Yeah. So it was honestly it all came from her. So it's by the grace of God that
Oh, wow.
she was introduced to
How
it.
do you guys think like our community should help support like, well, first off, let me say, do you guys think our community is very welcoming in doing this? Like,
I think it depends on the person you talk to.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
Like some
or,
people
what
feel
church.
like they don't feel super welcome.
Mm-hmm.
They feel kind of judged.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like coming back, they're like
yeah,
they feel like they get looks. They feel like they get judged.
yeah.
Some people don't care. Me, like I don't care. Look, laugh. I don't care. Good. Like a lot of people that I'm friends with, they're like, I don't want to talk to them. Like they're gonna like ask me too many questions. They're gonna judge me. They're gonna laugh at me. Like this, that. I think like some people have valid feelings of like feeling judged, unwanted, or like for example, even within like the young adults. Let's say you know someone's about a different life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've seen them what they post. Like you're like, why are you at OTYD acting like this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
But as Orthodox Christians, period, it is not our job to judge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so from my point of view, I'm always jumping for joy when I see my friends. I don't know if people notice. I'm
feel like,
always so happy to see people because you're here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like such a big deal.
I feel like we should be happier for the people that are leading a wrong life and coming to
Oh no,
church,
yeah.
not
There's the parable.
the prodigal son.
Is it? I think it is, right?
The son that like went away.
Yes, and then he came back, and then
back.
he like his father celebrated him.
Yeah, and the other son was jealous.
And the other son was jealous.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because like Jesus, like God will leave the 99 sheep
and find the one
to
lost
get the
one.
one lost one, right?
Yeah.
Like we can't judge the one lost one. We have to act as Christ and bring that one in. And like if that means, you know, not being nonchalant and smiling and waving and being happy.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I don't know. I just have that type of like mindset.
Yeah.
We should all have that mindset.
We should all have that mindset. There was this one sermon I was listening to. Hino Kylie.
Yes.
You guys know him.
Amazing.
Yeah. He's an amazing teacher. He was saying how like as Orthodox Christians, especially Ethiopian Orthodox, like if there's something he said like if let's say like within the Sunday school, like if one uniform was lost, like we would, you know, we'd be like, okay, where did the uniform go? Who had it last? Like there would be like a whole investigation.
Yeah.
It would go to like up to Sabakagubaye or anything like that. And then he'll be like, if something happened to like the church building, he would be like let's say if it burned, you know what I mean? God forbid. But like if it burned, like we would all be screaming, we would try to put the fire out, we would do so much. But then like if we lost someone within the church, are we giving that same energy? He said. And it's just like he even gave a story how I think within the church that he grew up in, there was, I guess, this one lady, she ended up converting into Protestant, and this is back home in Ethiopia. And he said that the priest there, he was just like, okay, it's time for a fasting period. We lost one. And imagine like you know in Ethiopia majority people are Orthodox.
Yes.
So out of thousands masses of people that go to that like church, like they lost one, and then you know they did Salut. And then if I'm not mistaken, again correct me, I think she came back, but
that's beautiful.
The ending was hazy to me. I was just so stuck on that one girl that was lost. That they prayed and fasted for her. And honestly, that's like
prayer is another way. Even if you like directly are not there, you can always pray. Like prayer is always there for you. So pray for someone that you know is in
pray for someone. Fast. Oh my God.
I was about to say that.
Once in OTYD, we did it one time, and this is me, you know, asking OTYD again if we can do it again. We fasted. So it was during Agume, which is the 13th month. I think it was like 5 days.
Depends on the year.
Yeah, it depends on the year. But it was like a couple years. We fasted for service. We fasted like, you know, and I actually went to Mariam.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I did. And I did like, I made sure that like fasted and I prayed there because they had their tzabel.
Mm.
It was literally as soon as
Tzabel
it
Beit,
yeah, tzabel Beit.
Shout
And
out.
so, yes, shout out Irving Mariam. And so, yeah, and I think we sometimes, especially when we're in trials and tribulations, we forget, like when you're in a trial, fast.
Yeah.
When you're like,
Definitely.
man, the devil be working, y'all.
Yeah.
He be
Yeah.
working. And
Yeah.
so it's just like during that time, fasting and prayer does wonders.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think, how do you guys feel, like, especially as women within the church, you know, servants within the church,
Mhm.
like, how can we be that opening, I guess, make other young women have that safe space within the church? Because, you know,
Definitely.
I feel like there's a lot more girls than guys.
Oh, yeah.
Within the church population, or just the world, really. I feel like there's just so many more girls. I don't know. I
think there's more girl servants that you see.
There is. There's definitely is. But yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer?
How could we uplift each other?
Yeah, especially
So people, we're talking about specific people that are already in the church, Manatra?
Well, and
Or
those who have
general?
left, like our friend, like Faven mentioned, like
Okay.
her friends, including my friends. You know, this is actually like a genuine question. How can I be a better friend to, you know, to my girls, like that aren't in church anymore? Like, how can we uplift them and bring them back?
One thing I'll say that I've struggled with is like, or not struggle with, but something I've noticed about myself is I don't really reach out to friends intentionally. Like I'll have, like, I have friends that I talk to each and every day, which is wonderful, a blessing. But there's people that I grew up with that I know are not in the church anymore. And I think about them at least maybe like once a week, and I'm like, dang, Miskeen, like we grew up together, we used to like play together, and now where are you guys? And I have their phone number, but I'm like, it's okay, like they'll come back, you know, God will bring them back, which he will, because they're his children. But it's like, am I not a servant of God? Like, is that not my responsibility? Even when God puts that thought in my heart, like, is that not him telling me to be like, just text them? Like, and I think it's because I'm like a very reserved and shy person. So I'm like, if I text them, like, what will they think coming on in? Or will they really listen to me? Like, will they really? But it's just like, do your part. God will do the rest at it. Like, so, yeah, that's one of the things that I will say I kind of fall short on. So it's not just women, but especially because like it's easier for, I think in my perspective, women to have like closer relationships with other people, with other women. So yeah, reach out and talk to the people that you haven't seen in a long time.
That scares me, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
like reaching out, like,
I know,
because sometimes I feel like they just come from a perspective of like, nah, you're just reaching out, just like you need something from me kind of thing. So it does scare me, but I think, but like yeah,
also that's like how I feel too sometimes. Good, like I feel like it takes, you shouldn't assume that that's how people think.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I always, like, whenever I reach out to people after a long time too, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I feel like I'm just like reaching out, like, because, you know, 99% of the time they're like, girl, what? No, I didn't even think like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, imagine if someone reached out to you, you wouldn't think that immediately. You know what I'm saying? So give that same grace to yourself. Like, you wouldn't think that immediately. Good. I want to answer the question too. For me, like, how, as a woman, like, what do I do to uplift other women? I have a brother who's a deacon. Shout out Ethan. I like always ask him questions.
Okay.
And I'll be like so unhinged. I'll be like, so what is that? Like, what does that even mean? Like, and he's 14, so like it's like
less. Know much.
It's not less. Like he doesn't know too much. Again, like he'll still like he'll answer it to the best of his abilities.
Yeah.
Not only that, like he like actually answers them too. Like, and as a girl servant, what I can know, because you know he's a deacon. So what can I know from my end, and I can know as much as I can, so I can then serve. With what I know from what I learned from my brother. So that's a blessing, and I use that without a doubt.
Also, being a mazambaran, is that the right terminology, by the way? We had a whole conversation and the other podcast. I don't know if you guys know. But being a mazambaran, like there's a lot of girls that are zamari, and it's very easy to become, like, to get into Unfiltered Faith. Like, it's not, you don't have to be ordained or anything like that. So if you really want to serve as a girl, mazamara is like the easiest way, and it's beautiful. And it's every time like I go up there and sing, it's like refreshing to my soul, and it's like I'm serving, and it's you're serving others, but you're also serving yourself at the same time. So I think that's another way we can uplift women that we see in the church. I guess people that are outside of church, you can't like make them, oh, do Mezmur like right when you get in. Obviously, you have to introduce them back into the church. But people that are already in the church that maybe are kind of in the background or that are not seen as much, if they really want to serve and have that blessing, it's so easy to get into Sambat Tumritate. Like, so I think that's
all of us have a gift, and the church, trust me, like your gift can be used within the church. Like I promise you. Like there's just so much the church needs, and as much as Zamarians are cool or whatever, right? I think
I forgot you have a something to say about that.
So like Sunday school, what I love, especially like back in Ethiopia, like Sunday school, there's like an arts part, there is mezmor part, there is like teaching kids, there is like there's just so much that you can do within Sunday school, and like it's I don't know, it's beautiful. But yeah, so I don't know, anytime we're struggling, I feel like knowing that prayer is there and truly understanding that God is always there. I think you have to block out the noise to truly understand and know that He is there, no matter what you're going through. And I say this, I think we were talking about this earlier, but like Job is, please, if you have not read Job, read it. If you read it, read it again. If you're in a trial, read it again, because he literally had every single thing taken from him. And it's not to downplay like what you're going through, but I mean, it's just to say that there is somebody out there that understands you, and like what you're going through, there is light at the end of the tunnel. And as much as we want to say, why have you forsaken me? Like, I promise you, it is Jesus Christ is there
Always
and
there.
with you, holding your hand and making sure like you're walking through that narrow path. Not alone, honestly. But thank you, ladies.
Thank you so
please
much.
Please visit us back in Unfiltered Faith.
We will.
And thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.